My name is Selena.
And my name's Theoni, and you are listening to Piping Hot.
Welcome to part 2 of the Love Hypothesis. We aren't going to even waste any time with any introduction because we're so excited and we're just going to jump right in where we left off.
Wait, I have a very important question for you.
Oh, yes.
What tea are you drinking?
Yes. Okay. Well, I am drinking peppermint tea.
Classic.
Yeah, I was just feeling for something like cozy tonight. So I was like, peppermint is my go-to.
Nice.
What about you?
I'm just drinking black tea with a little bit of honey. I don't know.
Nice.
Because I drank the other 2 kinds of tea I have, like the last 2 times we recorded. So I was like, I'm going to try to switch it up. So we'll see how it tastes. I don't know if I'm super excited for it, but it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, without further ado, we ended off with chapter 12 last time. So I'm going to jump right in with chapter 13, which, oofda, this one is crazy. Okay. So I'm going to, if you listen to last episode, you'll know I love a good synopsis. So I'm going to read my synopsis and then I'll jump in. Chapter 13 sets up what is going to be some presumably huge moments for the rest of the book. Adam comes back in town and Olive is forced to tell him about her rooming situation at the upcoming conference. Adam finally suggests Olive stay with him and Olive eventually accepts to do it. Olive opens up about her concerns with speaking at the panel and Adam knows exactly how to relax Olive. Adam also begins to open up to Olive about why he acts the way he acts. Finally, Adam offers to help Olive with her slides and Olive tells Adam how much she wants him at her talk, which already I'm just like, it's already too much.
I know.
I can't even read a synopsis without smiling. So one of the first random parts of this chapter, there was this one way that Olive described Adam and I thought it was really cute, but also I'm curious to hear your reaction. She described him as possibilities.
I think I do remember that.
Yes.
I think at this point of the book, I was just like, yes, all the possibilities. I was just really, really excited. Why? What are your thoughts?
I don't really have any. I just thought it was really cute. And because it's just we've talked so much about how Olive is very unsure of herself and stuff. And so the fact that she can see someone and be like, oh, he has possibilities, shows her hopefulness, which I think is something we don't get to see from her all that much. And I just love it.
It's because she doubts herself all the time, but with Adam, it's different. I just feel her confidence comes back, and I think it also goes to show that she's confident enough to poke him and tease him.
Yes.
She's poking the bear basically.
She literally is.
Yeah, but she's she's not afraid, and I just love it.
I know, me too. Okay, so on page 206, I wrote, the fact Olive feels his smile can bring back all the good things is so cute. Okay, so I feel this whole chapter is me just saying how cute it is because obviously they're it's literally just the whole chapter is a prime example of how they dialogue and how they can open up to each other and know what each other needs. And I just love that. Okay, so this is my note. I'm just going to read what I said. Page 208. So Adam knows Olive is trying to find a place to stay and is literally saying she should stay with him without actually saying it. And I want to tell Olive to just shut up and ask, LOL. Because it's just she's sitting here oh, this Airbnb's 45 minutes by bus and this one is blah, blah, blah. And he's just sitting there yeah, that wouldn't work. That wouldn't work. And I'm just oh my gosh. And then I forget if I have a note about this. Yes, I did write it. It's my next note, actually. So on page 209, finally, Adam suggests that she rooms with him, and I think she has an aneurysm. She's sitting there talking about how in every single rom-com there's only one bed, and she's convinced herself that she's gonna show up, there's gonna be one bed, and she's gonna not be able to mentally handle it.
I know. I think this part is so funny because again, I feel like Olive is just such a great main character. Like I was laughing so
Yes.
hard at like her thought process. Um but also going back to the whole thing where like he was sitting next to her while she was like looking at these like hotels and Airbnbs, like I knew that he was thinking like, "Oh, she should just come room with me," but
Yes.
he didn't want to be too forward, you
I
know?
know.
But I was just like waiting for it to happen because I was like, "Dude, I know what you're thinking. I
Literally.
know what you're thinking."
It's so annoying. I'm just like it, but I feel this is like how it is the whole book. It's just like, why
Yeah.
isn't one of them just saying it? You're both thinking it, just freaking say it already, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Anyways, again, I marked down just like on specifically page um 212 and like 213, I realized that like they're flirting like way more and it's almost like more overt than we've ever seen it. And I like literally can't
Mhm.
handle it. And I like that they're finally starting to come out of their like comfort zones more, you know?
Mhm. Yes, I do know. I I so agree because I think at one point it was I don't r- I like I can't pinpoint a chapter where it was like their tipping point, but at some point they like shifted.
Yes.
Like their relationship shifted and
Mhm.
like they were just so much more comfortable with each other and like all of their inside jokes are like flowing out and just like
Yes.
teasing each other. Like it definitely shifted. I just like can't remember like the exact chapter when, but like the exact chapter of like when that happened. But I love it.
It's so good. After that, I'm so sorry if I keep repeating myself over this chapter, but it's just like example after example about how Adam knows exactly what Olive needs to like calm down. Like she's sitting there freaking out about the conference and blah blah blah, and he just like wants to help her and is so like good about knowing what she needs.
He's so in tuned with her, and,
Yes.
like, that's the most attractive thing ever.
It
Like
is.
just, like, knowing how to respond and just, like, to be there, like, it's, like, a great skill that he has, but
Yes.
it's only a skill that he shows to Olive,
Yes,
you know, like
exactly. Yes. Okay, so there's this one part where I literally wrote I wheezed because Olive like says something and then she's like, I can't believe I just said that. She straight up asks Adam if he likes her. And I'm just like, what are you saying? And then, and then I just like I could not handle it. Okay, so now I have a quick excerpt to read. Okay, so
Okay.
it's on page 217. I am going to pull it up just one moment. Okay, so this is what I mean, and I think that's why I said it so much in this chapter. This is what it says. It hit her then what was so special about Adam, that no matter his reputation or how rocky their first meeting, since the very beginning, Olive had felt that he was on her side. Over and over, and in ways that she could have never anticipated, he had made her feel unjudged, less alone. And I just feel like that's exactly who she needs in like a partner. And the fact that
Yeah.
she finally is like confidently saying, like, it just hit me like how good this is. I was just like, wow, okay.
I think it's fascinating that like she can find that in Adam Carlson because again
Yes.
he has this like reputation on campus of
Mhm.
like he's an asshole and blah 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 but like out of all the people she found it within
I
him and I
know.
think it's like it's just the cutest thing in the world.
But like, again, it's just like I could not see either of them with anyone else. Like, they bring out what they
Mhm.
need in each other, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
Yeah, and then basically that's pretty much where the chapter ends with like Olive telling him that like she wants him there at the talk and he's like, "Of course I'll be there." And so I just love it and that's pretty much the end of the chapter. So,
All right. Moving on to chapter 14. Theoni, are you ready? Cuz This chapter is literally insane.
I don't know if I am ready. Honestly, like I don't know if I am, but I'll try to
Oh,
be.
yes, I'm not either, but we'll dive in, okay?
Okay.
So, chapter 14 opens up with Olive getting to the hotel room that she's sharing with Adam for the conference. And unfortunately, there are two beds.
Darn it.
So, I know, darn. And then she gets in a black wrap dress that she got before interviewing for grad school. And like that's what she's going to wear for her like talk at the conference, but it shrunk just a little. So it's like above her knees now.
Mhm.
And she's rehearsing her talk when the door opens and Adam comes in.
Mhm.
And he's like typing something on his phone. So he's like looking down. But then when he looks up and he sees Olive, he just freezes and his mouth hangs open.
Like
Like,
what?
he is so obsessed with her. Like,
He's so obsessed. He can't even help it at this point. And like
Yes.
I can't handle it. Like literally the only person who matters is her. Like I
Yes.
cannot. I cannot.
Yes. And it's funny too, because then she mentions that Adam seems like a little slow. On page 220, she says, maybe jet lagged from his own flight, or perhaps last night he had been out late with his famous scientist friends, or with the mysterious woman Holden had told her about. No, girlie, that he's in love with you. That's
Literally.
you are the same. You are the same. Like there's one and the same.
At that point, I'm just like, he's literally staring at you. He literally can't stop being around you, and you still think it's somebody else.
Exactly.
Girlfriend.
Yeah. Like, you're smarter than this, Olive. I know you're
Literally.
smart. Just put two and two together.
Literally. Oh my gosh.
So, Olive is obviously like very nervous for her presentation, but Adam says that she'll do great. And then she goes into like how he helped her like a lot with her presentation and like asking all the questions that she had, including taking less than 10 minutes to reply to her emails. Like, that is literally the definition of love. Like,
I know.
like he was like there ready to like help, and I was like, this is so cute.
He would literally do whatever. And like especially maybe like it speaks especially to my heart and maybe yours as well as a type A person. But anyone who will help me like get organized and help like get me to where I need to be for something so I can like calm down and do what I need to do. To me, I'm just like, yep, you're a keeper.
Exactly. So Adam offers Olive a protein bar because she hasn't even eaten yet, and she asks if he's coming to her presentation still. And it overlaps with the keynote speaker, so that eases Olive's anxiety because she's hopeful that like not a lot of people will turn up to her talk because of that.
Mhm.
And that's when she realizes that on his badge, it says that he is the keynote speaker for the conference. Like, of course, Adam didn't tell her. He's too humble to even like mention that that's what he's doing at the conference.
I know. Like, don't you think you could tell her? Like, come on.
Exactly. But again, too, I was like, that's such an Adam thing. Like, I wasn't even
Literally.
surprised.
I know. I love it though. It needed to be like another surprise for her to be like, what did I really get myself into? Like
Yes.
it's another one of those moments.
Well, yeah, and also too, like this also like puts me back into the mindset of like, oh, yes, he is an asshole, but he is a big deal. Like he is very important. Like, all right. So when that's revealed, she says it's fine that he can't come because he obviously has something else to do. But that she's going to record her talk anyways because her advisor, Dr. Aslan, isn't there to hear it and she wants to hear it. So before he leaves to bring his slides down for his keynote, he says that she'll do great, and he grins at her and his heart-stopping dimples show. Like,
which I love that little detail because we talked so much last episode about the mouth twitch, but the fact that now it's like a full smile with the dimples, I'm just like, finally.
I know, me too. I'm like, oh my goodness. Like he is so in love with her. Like, okay.
Oh, I can't. I really can't.
So the scene in this chapter ends with Olive realizing that the protein bar that Adam gave her was chocolate because she has a sweet tooth and it wasn't for him. It was always for her. And now I'm sobbing because that's the cutest thing ever.
Because he literally said he hated chocolate.
Yes!
So, let's just take a moment.
I know. And again, too, it's like Allie Hazelwood does such a great job at like bringing these things back in.
Yes, that just so much foreshadowing.
And it makes it so much, it like makes it so good. And I think that's why it's like so heartwarming and like so cute.
Yes, I agree.
So the next scene in this chapter is her presentation, and Tom is there because he's on the panel, but her presentation goes great. Her friends are there to support, and because they were running late, the moderator ended up giving her time for only one question. This is so random, but I loved when that happened in college because I hated questions after presentations.
Oh my gosh, that was the most stressful part.
Yes, I was literally talking out of my ass every single time.
Oh my gosh, I have to do that at the end of the semester where I have to present a case, and then my professor has to ask me like questions about it, about like different theories and attachment and neuroscience and all this stuff, and I'm just like, my brain will not be able to compute.
No, thank you.
Yay me. Yeah. Anyways, back to Olive.
Yes. After her presentation, her friends congratulate her and they plan to go get drinks to celebrate afterward. Olive tells them to go ahead because she needs to grab her USB and also put her stuff back in the hotel. And the room is empty, and we get this like moment with Olive where she just feels so proud and accomplished, as she should, because she just girl bossed so hard and she deserves it, you know?
Yes.
Then out of nowhere, Tom is there and tells her that that went well, and she thanks him and tells him that his presentation went well too. He asks where Adam is, and Olive tells him that he's giving his keynote, obviously. And then Tom says on page 228, he does that, doesn't he? Yeah, me too. He does that, doesn't he? Outdoes you. Well, outdoes everyone. It's not personal. Well, Tom, it damn well sounds freaking personal to you, sir.
Like, it literally is personal, and you can just shut your mouth.
Exactly.
Like, literally shut up. I'm sorry you're jealous, and I'm sorry you're a jerk, and I'm sorry you can't handle yourself, but you need to calm down. I'm sorry. I'm getting really heated. I need to take a deep breath. I hated him in this moment. Like, don't you dare try to say something bad about Adam. You will never be him. You will never be close to him.
The second that I knew that she was alone in the room with him, I was like, this is not going to go well.
Literally.
So they talk about next year and how great they'll work together. And Tom goes on to say that he has everything she needs for her research. And like Olive agrees. And just as she does that, she can pick out the gray rim of his cornea. And she realizes that he's gotten closer to her. She tries to say something like, she tries to agree with him and be like, yeah, like I'm super excited for next year too. But before she can even say that, he grasps her upper arm and he's so close to her that she can smell him, and his breath is hot on the corner of her mouth. She asks him, what the frick are you doing? And he says, a preview, I think, which is the grossest thing ever in the entire world. Like, I threw up.
Like, he assumes that she's just gonna fall at his feet. Like, all of these things, it honestly disgusts me.
So gross.
Like, that is so disgusting.
Yeah. And then he moves in again for a kiss, but Olive pushes him away forcefully as much as she could. And she asks, like, a preview of what? And Tom just laughs at her with a condescending tone. He says that she should know the score by now and goes on to say, don't lie to me and say you didn't pick out a dress that was short for my benefit. Nice legs, by the way. I can see why Adam's wasting his time with you. Are you? The audacity has me floored.
Oh my gosh. He Oh my gosh, it's so disgusting.
It is.
Like, it's so disgusting. The fact that, number one, he has to mention Adam again. You know literally nothing about their relationship.
Yes.
So literally shut your mouth. Second of all, you think that she wore a dress for you as if you're the center of her universe? Who do you think you are? Let me ask you, Tom, who do you think you are? You're dumb. You're dumb.
He's like so self-centered and cocky that like he can just like do all that he's doing or whatever, and it's literally the like grossest thing in the world. And then he puts the cherry on the top by saying, "You don't think I accepted you into my lab because you are good, do you?" A pig. He's a pig. I hate him. I hate him so much.
There are words stronger than pig that I want to use right now, but I'm going to hold myself back. Who says that? Not only are you being a freaking creep, you're going to go and undermine all of her work.
Yes.
As if like it's not hard enough being a woman in STEM. She has worked so hard for everything she does. And then for you to tell her that you're only doing it for whatever reason, like shut up. You know that her work is good. So literally like,
Exactly. And I get into that a little bit too, but this reminds me of a TikTok, and it's by @BaddieBBenson, which is such a fitting name for this whole thing. But
wait, the name is Baddie B.
Benson, yeah, right.
Okay.
Sorry.
Brilliant.
So @BaddieBBenson made a TikTok when Red Taylor's version came out and like the whole Jake Gyllenhaal hate was revived, and she said in the TikTok that she doesn't listen to Taylor Swift and doesn't know anything that has happened between Taylor and Jake, and then she goes, "But if I ever see that cheeky motherfucker," Jake is my Tom. Like I hate him so much.
See, I don't really listen to Taylor Swift. I don't really keep up with her. She's not my fave, but I also just, I don't know. I don't know enough about her, but
yeah.
I really like Jake Gyllenhaal as an actor, and I don't know the situation. So I would not say, actually, I have this old picture where I did one of those Facebook things where I like turned myself to the opposite gender, and I swear to you, I look just like Jake Gyllenhaal. Like, anyways, that's way off topic, but that's hilarious. Baddie B. Benson.
Yes, I will send you the TikTok because it's so funny and it has like 5 million likes. It's great.
Please do.
Tom goes on to insult Olive and her skills, saying how she's like not good and her abstract was only picked for the conference because she's dating Adam, which I think goes into what you were saying before, is that like we all know Olive's wound at this point. Like it was talked and mentioned about with that scene with Malcolm in the coffee shop. So when I was reading this, I literally felt sick to my stomach knowing that he was hitting home to all of her worst fears. Like it just made me.
That's what made it so difficult.
Yes. I was just so disgusted.
I can't even say anything else. Sorry, go ahead.
Olive threatens to tell Adam like that all that like Tom is telling her, and then he says go ahead. He even offers his phone to like call him, which is literally the sickest thing in the world. Like what the heck?
Because he automatically thinks that Adam's going to believe him over Olive, which number one, I have full confidence that Adam would not believe Tom over Olive.
Yeah.
But that made me more angry than almost everything else, because just thinking about like, sorry to get like all deep and stuff, but just like thinking about like women who have been assaulted and stuff, like one of the hardest things is like coming forward about it because you feel like no one's going to believe you. Yeah. And the fact that he just like hit on that and is like, say whatever you want, it's not going to affect me. Like literally screw you.
Yeah. And like the thing is too, at this point, I think this was the part for me, at least personally, that I felt wasn't I don't want to say realistic, but I couldn't believe it as a reader when I was reading this because again, we've read so much of what has happened between Olive and Adam that I knew that Adam would have 100% believed Olive. But obviously in her
Uh-huh.
head, she's like, no, no, no. But like me, I was like, yes, yes, yes.
Call him.
Yes.
Dare you. Do it.
Olive asks why he's doing this, and Tom says he hates how Adam is the best at everything, and he likes the idea of taking something away from him for once, which is so messed
Oh,
up. So messed up.
Tom is the most
Yes.
insecure, sick
Yes.
individual. Like, get a life,
Really.
straight
Oh.
up. Like, God.
So then Olive tells him that she won't go to Harvard next year to work in his lab, and Tom says she will because he'll steal her research and replicate them himself and claim it for himself. When I was reading this scene, I was like, it just kept getting worse and worse and worse.
Yes.
Like I couldn't fathom that this was what he was going to resort to.
Literally, it's as if he thought of every possibility that she would say and was like,
Yes.
I have an answer for everything. You're not getting out of this.
So the scene ends by Tom telling her to keep Adam happy for long enough until she goes to his lab in Harvard. And then if she keeps Tom happy, then he'll make sure that she can save the world from pancreatic cancer. He is such a vile human, and I freaking hate him.
Literally so vile, as if she's just there to like please whatever man like comes along, like she's a piece of like property.
Yes.
Like, don't even try. She is a literal human being who has worked for everything that she has, so you literally need to go away right now. I'm not gonna say anything else because I'm trying to only say nice words. Okay.
As if you said anything nice about Tom in these last like 10 minutes.
Literally, I'm trying to control myself.
I know. I literally
I'm so
like
heated.
I knew I didn't like him when he like first came in, but this just like sealed the freaking deal because I was like I knew something horrible was like, you know, you were just like off the vibe, and I just hated him. And I know that I'm only 4'11", but my Scorpio energy is more than convinced that I can fight Tom, right? But not only can I fight him, I can ruin his life, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that not a Scorpio thing? Not only can I fight, I will ruin your career.
I think I don't know a lot about astrology, so like it definitely is a Scorpio thing, probably, but like that's also a Selena thing to be like, you try to come at me, I will end you. Try me. Literally try me. I will wreck you.
No, do it.
Like, go off. Yes. Try. Oh, yes. Get him,
Thank
Selena.
you.
I feel like you just need to like go. I feel like I need to go beat someone up. I'm not even an aggressive person. Like I would never, but I'm so mad. Okay, sorry.
So
Deep breaths.
the next scene, we see Olive go back to her hotel room, and she cries until Adam comes in. And she's like wiping away her tears and like trying to like act cool or whatever, like nothing's wrong. But with Adam being Adam, he knows immediately that something is wrong.
Yes.
And he kneels in front of her, wipes away her tears, and jokes about if someone bought the last bag of chips. And she lies and says yes and asks if it was him. He says, of course it was him. He bought them all.
Oh my god!
Like, even in the hardest moments, they're able to like joke around, and it just like makes me so happy.
I know, it's literally so cute. Like again, it's like bringing back something that happened earlier at like the perfect moment, and the fact that he is so okay with like he knows that Olive does not owe him an explanation, doesn't owe him anything, but he's just like, I know you're not okay, but I'm going to do what I can to make it okay, even if I have no idea what's going on. And that is so sweet.
Yes, it is the sweetest thing ever. So after a little coaxing, Olive lies and says that her talk went okay, but she heard people talking afterwards saying like really mean things about her presentation, like how it was boring and that she stammered, and how like the only reason why she was chosen to give a talk was because she was his girlfriend. Adam asks who it was, but Olive lies again and says that she doesn't know and that it doesn't matter. Then, like you had mentioned before, Adam gets like really pissed. Like he he's still gentle with her, but like she can obviously tell that he's pissed, and she recognizes that
Yes.
this is the Adam that everyone talks about, the asshole that he's known for, and it's the first time
Yeah.
that like she's seen him like that, which I think is like crazy.
I know, but I love that, like, the fact that she sees that side of him is not even necessarily about her. Even if he's like frustrated that she won't
Yeah.
say something, it's not even about that. It's the fact that like he wants to like stand up for her, but he doesn't know how because he doesn't know
Yeah.
who. He wants to know so he can like
Yeah, but you know what else I took away from that too? I thought that
Yes.
like the reason why this is the first time she is seeing him like this is because he was so diligent in not showing that side of him, because he reserved that side for everyone else, but then there was this special quiet side that he reserved for her. And I'm just like, that's adorable. Adam goes on to say that he knows she doesn't care what other people think or say about her, and that's the problem. He says that the reason why he's so frustrated is that she thinks these people are right. And he says the sweetest thing ever, he says that she's a great scientist, and whatever this person said, it speaks nothing of her and a whole lot of them. And then she leans forward and buries her face in his neck and just cries. And she expects Adam to push her away, but then he grabs her and just holds her there. Oh my God,
it's too much.
I'm like gonna
It's
cry.
too much.
I'm gonna cry.
I know, me too. I can't. I can't. It's like it's like all like it's just like one of the biggest forms of intimacy to just like
Yes.
be at your most vulnerable with someone and just be willing to be there in like all of your emotions and let them see all of it and just let them hold you. Like I just can't.
Yeah. And my favorite part of this chapter is on page 235 when Olive thinks to herself, "You just had to go and make me fall for you, you absolute ass." Like,
I love it.
So they end the chapter by Adam saying that they're going to go get free drinks. Well, free drinks for her because he'll be paying, which is adorable. Olive is concerned because like, what are people going to think if he like doesn't show up to like the department social that is like happening that evening? Then he turns to her with a smile and say that people will think that I want to spend time with my girlfriend. It sounded so real then, and I knew he believed it was real too. And I was like, oh my God, it's happening. It's happening. Another thing that I love about this moment too is that like this is the first time that Adam suggests for them to do something. In the past, it's always been Olive, like the coffee dates, the flu shot, all of that has been Olive's idea. But now this is his idea, and I love it because it's so telling to like where he is in his character development and like where his feelings are for her. And I'm just like, I love it. Anyways, that is how chapter 14 ends, and it was literally a freaking roller coaster. Like I felt like I died, and then I came back alive with all of these like twists and turns. Like I was
literally.
Oh my God, I felt so exhausted after reading that chapter.
It was too much. I feel like I say that a lot, but it just is.
All right, moving on to chapter 15. So they go on their date and they're walking outside and he's teasing her about her height, and Olive asks if the free drinks he had mentioned come with dinner, and he smiles and says, "I'll get you dinner. You're not a cheap date though." Like
it's like they're like fully flirting at this point. Like just like
you're telling me this is fake? I see what you're doing, right?
Yeah, literally. Whatever.
So they eat at this sushi place, which I think is like so funny how they chose it. Olive is like basically stopped in the middle of the sidewalk and had to beg to eat there because Adam didn't want to go there.
The sushi train.
The sushi train. And it's so funny because it's like Adam just like caved into her demands, and it's just so cute. And then another random thing that I want to mention too that's like really, really cute is that in the in the sushi place when they're talking about the Fast and Furious franchise, and his favorite is Fast Five, but he has a feeling that her favorite is Tokyo Drift, which is right. I thought it was so cute because at this point it's like, oh my god, he knows her. Like, he really knows her.
Literally. Oh.
So they get back to the hotel, and Adam does the most Adam thing ever when Olive takes off her heels and sweeps her into a full bridal carry to carry her down to the hotel room. I died.
That was I'm sorry. For those of you listening, my jaw dropped. Like
like, it's so, it's so cheesy, but like, I loved it, and I wanted more. Like, I wanted more.
I know, but it was like cheesy in the perfect way.
I agree.
Like,
I agree.
Yeah.
So Olive is starting to finally feel calm, and she feels pretty comfortable with Adam alone in the hotel room. And of course, there's just like one paragraph of Adam taking off his clothes. Like, it's not even his clothes though. It's like his watch, and then his jacket, and then him setting it on the desk. Like a whole paragraph. Like it's not necessary, but do I love it? Yes, I do love it.
I love it too. But honestly though, I feel like it is necessary because number one, I love to read it. But number two, it's so realistic to like what people are thinking. It's like when you really like someone, you notice these like random minuscule details that like make them who they are to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure. And I love like that thinking process in Olive's head.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Then Olive says that they should watch a movie, but she's going to go take a shower first. And that's when she realized that she forgot her PJs, and she goes in search for her phone to text a friend of hers to like borrow something. And it's nearly dead because she forgot to turn off the recording, which is when I realized that she had the entire recording of Tom being an ass to her. And like, obviously in this moment, she doesn't realize it, but I did, and I was so excited, and I was so eager for her to like finally realize it. It was kind of just like a waiting game at this point, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Adam then offers her a t-shirt that she could sleep in, and she asks if he's sure. And she also asks like, oh, like what are you going to wear if like this is your shirt that you were going to sleep in? And then he says he'll sleep in nothing. And Olive just stares at him in shock, and he goes, oh, I'm just kidding. Like, he has another t-shirt that he can wear.
I love it because he knew exactly what kind of reaction he was going to get. And I love it.
And again, I just think Adam is so funny in like the most dry humor way, and I love it.
Literally.
So Olive comes out into the room with his like t-shirt on, and Adam is looking for movies to watch. When he finally meets her eyes, the man is speechless. He finally says that like, oh, I'm glad it fits. And Olive says it's just her size. She teases that she won't give it back, and Adam says that she can have it and that she can sleep in it all week because he's going to be gone anyways for like the interviews for Harvard. And then she jokes about how big his suitcase is because she wants to go too. But Adam realizes that she's sad again and like tries to comfort her by like telling her that like these people, like, don't let these people get to you. And like whatever they had to say, like, doesn't mean anything. Yeah. Olive remembers what he said to her in the bathroom. But even then, she still thinks that she's mediocre. And like she asks Adam that. And then we dive into like Adam's background, which I love because like all of this time, he's kind of been mysterious in a way. Like, we've been getting kind of like little pieces of him. So their conversation in the hotel room, like, I just like loved. We also learned that his advisor, when he was a PhD student, told him that he was a failure who would never amount to anything, and that he had seriously filled out those law applications in his second year of PhD, which Holden had told us about earlier in the book. But then we also hear that it was Holden and Tom who had convinced Adam to like keep going with his studies. Adam then tells a story about his advisor had pinned him against Holden, and whoever obtained like publishable results first would receive funding for the following semester, which is literally so messed up. Yeah.
So messed up.
They actually went against their advisor and like paired up and worked together. But then when they presented their findings at the end of the semester, their advisor told them that they both be without funding because they were collaborating and hadn't followed his guidelines or whatever. And
That's such
and then
BS.
the cherry on the top, his advisor took their findings and published it without acknowledging Holden and Adam's role in obtaining the results. Sound familiar?
Sounds like someone literally.
Like, this is where I thought Olive would tell Adam the whole thing, because like Adam literally went through the same thing, and I feel like that would be common ground to tell them. And also like that night from their date night and the way that he's like comforting her, I thought that like she would for sure feel comfortable to tell Adam, but then she didn't. Unfortunately, he also says that they never reported his advisor because he has like very powerful friends in high places, and Adam and Holden thought no one would believe them. Like there was like no real system to ask for help. Adam goes on to say that Holden was removed enough to see Adam's situation with his advisor objectively, so that's how he helped Adam, which is kind of like the same place that Adam is in with Olive's situation. Like Adam is so removed that like he can kind of see Olive's situation objectively. He goes on to say wonderful words about Olive and her skills and her talents, and that she's like so smart and her research is like freaking amazing. And then my favorite line of all time in the entire book is on page 255 when he ends this little speech with, "I wish you could see yourself the way I see you."
Yes. That's the best line. That's the best line.
I put the book down and I screamed and cried, and I was so excited because I was like, "Oh, you love her, Adam. You love her.
Literally
like,
in love."
Oh my gosh! Like
I have chills.
Right?
I literally have chills. I can't handle
I love
this.
that line so much.
I'm gonna cry.
Okay. After that beautiful confession of love, Adam, Olive steps in between his legs and they kiss. And it's so different from their other kisses though, because like before it was like kind of like forced and awkward, but like this one is like really calm and precious and just like really, really intimate. But then just as Olive pulls away, Adam is already shaking his head no. He says they can't do this, and Olive is confused because, like, he didn't pull away when they kissed. Like, what are you doing, dude? His excuse is basically that he like doesn't want to coerce her into doing anything and that she's drunk, but Olive says she's fine. Then out of nowhere, he yells and says that she's in love with someone else. Like that's the problem, and that's why he's kind of like so frustrated. I'm going to be honest. This was really weird for me and off-putting when he yelled, because I was like, why are you getting so angry? I don't understand. But we get an inside look in his head with the special chapter that Allie Hazelwood released, which we'll talk about next. But at this point, I was very, very confused and off-put by his reaction. He finally calms down after that, and Olive is wondering if he's thinking of the woman that Holden had told her about, which I find so hilarious because, again, girly, he's thinking about you.
Olive,
he's thinking about you.
Just you are so smart.
So smart, but so dumb at the same time.
Literally.
Adam says that he doesn't want her to regret anything, that like right now she wants this, but like a month from now she's not gonna want it. Olive then gets mad and argues like what she wants. Like she wants this and that's the important part. Then she jumps to the conclusion. Again, Olive, just your mind is just spinning. She jumps to the conclusion that he doesn't want it. Like maybe she's not attractive to him and he doesn't want it.
Whatever. At this point,
Me too.
I'm so
it was
over
so
it.
angry.
Like,
I was like, what is happening?
I was like,
but then to prove his point, he tugs her hand that he's still holding and places it on his groin. And then he does the most attractive thing on the page on 258. It says, his jaw rolled as he held her gaze. "You have no effing idea what I want." I had to put the book down.
I couldn't because you know what's about to happen. And I just like simply could not mentally handle that. And the fact that he finally was like, you have no idea what's in my head. You think you know what's in my head. You have no
Yes,
idea.
when sorry, I remember reading that, and when he did that, I was like, oh, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. His last argument to stop Olive is saying that she said no sex when they put their like arrangement together, and
you are pulling at with strings, whatever the heck. Adam, shut
and then
up.
Olive argues back that she also said it was an on-campus thing, and they just went to dinner in Boston, so the rules basically don't hold anymore. And then he wonders, like, what if she hates him after this? Like, what if they go back to campus and she changes her mind? But Olive says that she's never been sure of anything in her life except maybe for cell theory. And that is how chapter 15 ends.
Oh my gosh, it's too much. It's too much.
The build up to it was amazing. Like,
I know.
I think what Allie Hazelwood did of building up this scene was so natural, and it didn't feel rushed, but it came at a good place. And I love it so much. And it's just so good.
Selena, I don't know if I'll be able to make it through this. If y'all listening have read this book, you already know. Chapter 16. You want to hear my synopsis?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Chapter 16 is sex.
Wait,
that's it. That's literally because that's all it is.
Yeah.
That's literally all it is.
Yeah.
Okay. The thing is I had a hard time writing anything specific because my brain couldn't compute. But I want to I will preface though with the fact that I'm going to talk about chapter 16. But then, if you guys listening don't know this or have whatever, Allie Hazelwood released a secret, like, special chapter of chapter 16, but from Adam's point of view. So, like, you learn so much from Adam's point of view that, like, you, like, will tie things in from the whole book.
Yeah.
It's, like, so good. So, I'll talk about this, and then Selena will dig into that.
Yes.
Okay, so I literally love this chapter because I feel like finally just everything comes together. But the one thing that was like so perfect, but that I was so annoyed by was that Olive couldn't stop talking at first. Like she kept, I don't even remember what she was saying, but I was like, Olive, just like, let him do what he wants to do to you, and just enjoy.
Like, stop,
literally,
stop worrying. Like,
get out of your head.
Yeah. I think at one point, not on the podcast, but I think when we were hanging out, you said that the sex scene felt really long. But I have a theory because Olive keeps freaking talking, but also they keep like arguing. Like,
yes,
I forgot how much they argued in this chapter, and I think that's why it felt so long, because they started and then stopped. They started and then stopped. It's like, I think when like Adam realizes that she doesn't have a lot of experience, Adam like freaks out and he's like, no, I can't do this. And then Olive is like, no, like we can do it, and it just goes back and forth. And I think that's why it feels so long.
But like, I also love that it's so long.
Yes.
Like, I love that you get that arguing because it's like, they're both just like, I read Adam's not really in his head anymore. I think he's ready to go.
Oh yeah.
But Olive still is in her head, and I'm just like, Olive, just like just be in this moment for once in your life.
Yes. Can we also talk about how when like they start kissing and he's like feeling her ribs?
Yes! Oh my god, shut the
and he like lifts her shirt and she goes, that's the place. And he's like, what place? He's like, yeah, that's where you like held me the first time we kissed. And then he kisses her there. Like, I died.
Yes.
Died.
Oh my, this is a problem. I don't know words. I think that was like the most perfect moment.
Yes.
Wow. Yep. I love it. I'm sorry. I'm so speechless. Like this
The woman was too stunned to speak.
literally me this entire chapter, book, whatever. Anyways, okay. There's this one part where in the middle of their arguing, when I marked this down as a quote,
Mhm.
Adam says, "It doesn't matter what you said. You can always change your mind." And I just like love this because I think it's such an important message about
Yes.
consent, first of all, and just like respect and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And I think that is like so important because you think about like how Tom was like assaulting Olive and then him like saying that to her. I don't know. I know it's kind of like outside of like what the chapter is, but I just think it's so important.
No.
And I really appreciated that Allie Hazelwood put that in because that just needs to happen more often than it does.
I agree. And the thing is too, it says a whole ton about Adam's personality, that he is that understanding and like that caring about her, that he's like, yeah, we can stop whenever you want. And I just like,
yeah.
It's like more reason that like I love him so much. Like, you know.
I know. And it makes me think, which I'm not even going to go on a rant about this right now, but it just makes me think about like how sometimes I feel like we expect the bare minimum. Like that should be the bare minimum. That, oh, what a concept. When we don't want to do something anymore, you stop.
Yeah.
What? Like, but like it's still just like means so much to read that, and it's just it makes me love him. It's
these fictional men putting the bar too high. Last week I know it was Geralt of Rivia, but now this week it's Adam Carlson. So don't tune in next week to see what fictional men will obsess over.
Literally, I have a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so another little thing. So Olive's like sitting there like saying sorry and just like not letting herself be in that moment. And all like Adam, I forget what page it's on, but Adam just whispers, "You're perfect," or something like that. And I'm just like, like I literally can't even handle it. Like, shut up. He does not care what she says. He's just like, "You're perfect just the way you are." He's always accepted her how she is. And I just, okay, this is funny. Again, going off of what we've said 100 times already, but on page 267, I literally put a note that says, "I hate how respectful Adam is. I genuinely can't stand it. He wants to give her everything, but no matter what, he just wants Olive to be okay." I also love on page 268, Olive explains to Adam like how attraction works for her. Yes. And I think like, again, we were talking about sexuality and stuff, and I just think it's so important that she was like willing to be vulnerable with him in that way, talk to him about that stuff, because that's definitely not easy to talk about. And I think it shows a lot about how much she trusts him to be able to like talk about something like that. But I did mark a bullet under that and said, however, ... I did want them to both shut the fuck up and get on with it, lol. Because at this point, I was so done with the talking. I was like, y'all.
It was like Allie Hazelwood was teasing us just to like draw it out as long as possible. And I'm like, Allie, just get to it. Just get to it.
Literally, just let me have it already. Jesus.
I was gonna say though, I agree that like it says so much about where their relationship has like progressed. Like Olive really, really trusts Adam, and it just like makes my heart hurt because I'm like, honey, you are so in love with him and he loves you too. Like,
I know. On page 273, in quotes, Adam literally says, "Just be quiet for a moment." Like finally, he was like, "You know what? I get our bicker. I get that's how we work. But like literally now, shut up and let's just have this moment."
Okay, wait. There's another line that he says too, but I won't say it. I'll wait until like you get to the end because I don't know if you're gonna say it. But some of his comments that he said here were a little off-putting to me until I read his chapter.
Interesting.
Like when I first read chapter 16 just from Olive's perspective, and he like said those kind of phrases of like, "Oh, just like be quiet for a moment," and he says something else too. But I'm gonna see if you mention it or not. But I was like, what? is his deal.
See,
Like, we can take it slow. Don't worry.
see, but here's the thing. I thought he had done such a good job up until that point
Mm,
about consent and things like that,
yeah.
that at that point, I feel like it's in like rom-coms where it's just like, shut up already. And then they finally like
Oh,
kiss. Like, that's how I read it, as one of
got
those
it.
moments. Like, it wasn't like, shut up and like pushy. It was just
Got
like, just shut up already,
got it. Okay, no, that makes more sense. That makes more
Yeah.
sense.
But the only other note I have, which I want to hear what you said, but
Mhm.
I passed away, went up to heaven, came alive again, passed away again, went up to heaven, back and forth about 100 times when they make eye contact and they say, hi, hi. Like, that's it. And I simply could not function because that calls back to earlier in the book. And I don't know why saying hi to someone,
Has that effect?
but it does.
Yeah. No, oh my god, I feel so dumb when we recorded part 1 because that was my chapter when I mentioned that they said hey to each other when with the sunscreen
Mhm.
scene. I felt so dumb because you're like, "Oh, that comes back." And I put 2 and 2 together and I'm like, "Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, it does come back when they're sleeping
Yeah.
together." I was like, "Oh my goodness." It just makes it more precious.
Literally. So that's all I have for that chapter, but I want to hear Adam's chapter.
Okay. Okay. So, this is a big chapter. I love that Allie Hazelwood did this, and
Mhm.
it also makes me want to have a book just in his perspective. Like
Yes,
this book
literally.
in his perspective because I want to see that internal struggle. If Olive
Mhm.
had such a really really bad internal struggle, he
Mhm.
probably had it worst. And I want to
Yes,
just like want to read that.
100%. I know, me
Yeah.
too.
So at the beginning of his chapter, or his perspective on chapter 16, we find out that Adam was going to confess to Olive when she first kissed him in the
Mhm.
hotel that he had feelings for her. And also this like whole chapter, we just find out that he has it so bad for Olive.
Literally
This
so bad.
this man is literally in love with Olive, and
Head
he
over
is
heels.
and he it also like surprised me too of like how much restraint he has on himself because
Mhm.
like I feel like he's very, very stoic until like the last couple of chapters that we
Mhm.
read, and then he finally starts loosening up. But like this
Yeah.
chapter, it's revealed that he's on the tightest leash ever. To
Like
like,
he's about to snap.
yes, exactly. And his internal monologue throughout this entire chapter kills me, and
Yep.
it's so funny because I love his voice, and like Olive's voice is very different. But
Mhm.
he goes, I like no one, absolutely no one, but I liked you from the start. I liked you when I didn't know you, and now that I know you, it's only gotten worse. Sometimes, often, always, I think about you before falling asleep. Ha, that's true love. That is true love. You're not going to tell me that this is all fake. That is true love.
If I like what the what's wrong with me? What the heck? That's too much. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
But then he goes on to say, quote, it's been going on for a while, longer than you
Mhm.
think, longer than you can imagine, and I should have told you, but I have this impression, this certainty that you're half a second from running away, that I should give you enough reasons to stay. Is there anything I can do for you? I'll take you grocery shopping and fill your fridge when we're back home, buy you a new bike, and a case of decent something in the sludge that you drink. Kill the people who made you cry. Is there something you need? Name it. It's yours. If I have it, it's yours. He worships her. He,
Literally worships the ground that she
yes.
walks on, and she still has the audacity to not understand how much. And he's so scared that she's gonna run away, which
I
makes it
know.
make sense why he hasn't really made a huge move yet, because he was scared that she was gonna run away.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think everything happened timing wise the way it needed to in the book. But the fact that he's like, I will do even the simplest things for you. I just want to do anything I can.
He is just so caring. And again, I
know.
love this chapter because it shows just how much he like loves Olive and that he'll literally do anything for her. But it makes me sad though because it's like he thinks that like he's gonna scare her away, and that
I
breaks my heart.
know.
Like, oh my god, you're not gonna scare any, well, maybe you'll scare some people away, but not all of, you know? Like she's tough enough that she's gonna challenge you, like
Yeah.
obviously, you know?
Yeah.
All right. He also gives the reasoning as to why he says no when they first kiss in the hotel room, which was nice because, again, I was so confused when he was like, no, we can't do this. His internal like monologue says, there is no scenario in which any of this won't send her screaming. And after the last few days, weeks, years, all Olive needs is a little quiet, a safe space, a place to run to, not from. So Adam is like definitely convinced that he thinks he could like be something that Olive runs from, which unfortunately happens later. Spoiler alert, but you know, like it makes me so sad that he has this idea that he's like gonna mess it up, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, poor Adam.
Oh, I know. Just
Also, I love that he mentions the whole auditorium thing in this chapter
Yes.
when she's like sitting in his lap, because I was dying during that chapter and I was like, oh my gosh, I can finally see like a little bit in his head. He says he tries to forget, quote, when you wiggled in my lap for 1 hour, and all I could think was that in a just world, an ideal world, this thing we're doing would have been real, and those intrusive, half-formulated, lucid fantasies I have about you won't send you screaming. Again, the man is in love. He is in love.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, I don't know what else to say. He just loves her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like I said before, Adam is restraining himself so much, and he's constantly reminding himself to take it slow and at her pace, which is, again,
Literally.
very respectful, but he's like fighting himself. Another favorite quote of mine, just showing how sweet and caring he is, quote, she's in love with someone else and these things take time. But next year, they'll both be here in Boston, and maybe if she already trusts him, Adam could convince her to let him take care of her. He doesn't want anything in return. She doesn't need to fall for him because he loves her enough for the both of them. Are you kidding me? Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. Sorry. Oh my god.
He literally does not.
Like,
I swear to you, I've never read a book like this before.
Yeah.
Like, it's so evident. Like, the way it's written is so beautiful.
yes.
Like, I just.
It's so addicting. Like her writing is so addicting, that her characters are so addicting. Like it's just so, it's like so good. It's so good.
He doesn't even care if he gets anything in return.
Yeah.
He just wants to be able to be there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like,
okay. Okay, I'm gonna talk.
oh boy.
I'm gonna talk about the sex scene.
Okay.
And this is not safe for work, but also if you've already made it this far, you know it's not safe for work. Like this chapter is not safe for work. NSFW people. I forgot how spicy this scene was, and I was reading it in Adam's perspective, and I was like, "Oh, dude! Like, oh my god,
so spicy!"
Okay.
It's out of control. It's really, really out of control.
Okay, I have to quote. I'm sorry, I have to quote it, but,
no.
I love it because I was literally dying, laughing, but also dying because I was like waiting for this moment. Okay, so I think at one point, Olive is like, "Oh, you're so big," and then I died when he says, "You can take it." Like, I was like,
shut up. I was like,
are you kidding me right now? Like, I was fanning myself. I was like, oh my god.
I was like, all right, here we go. Like, all right.
Yeah. And then the other thing that I was gonna mention before, like kind of when I thought that he was like being quote unquote rude or whatever, another thing that he says that I was like, I had my jaw dropped. I was like, oh my gosh. He, along with a line of like, oh, just like be quiet for a moment. He says like, I don't have it quoted, but he basically says like like stop moving or else like I'm gonna come. Like he's again restraining himself so hard.
He is.
Like
He really is. He genuinely cannot handle himself.
yeah.
And knowing how much like buildup and emotion is coming from his
Yes.
end like makes it even more like insane.
Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh.
Ugh.
Okay, so at this point, like we already know Adam is in love with Olive, but in
Mhm.
his chapter, it says, quote, Adam smiles too and thinks, this is it. He thinks, I love you. He thinks maybe one day you'll even let me tell you. And then he says, hey.
No.
Literally makes me like want to cry because it's like, that's what he was thinking when he said, hey.
That was the moment.
Yeah. Like, oh my gosh. Oh my god, I'm trying to cry. Sorry.
Selena, I can't. I really can't.
Oh my gosh.
It honestly though, it really was just the most like beautiful, attractive everything moment that I've ever read ever.
Yeah.
Like what the heck?
I know. And then the last thing I'll say about his chapter is that like again, this entire chapter told a lot about Adam and like that he's very considerate of Olive, literally in like every possible way, thinking of her like safety and happiness. In that chapter, he even says, quote, he promised himself at the very start that his time with Olive would always be about her. And that's why he needs to attempt something radical to his nature, diplomacy, which I think is so funny.
Aww.
That's the end of chapter 16 from Adam's perspective, which I am obsessed with.
I'm so obsessed with it. And seriously, like whoever's listening to this, if you haven't read it, just
Go read it.
Do it ASAP.
It's so
like,
good.
It is so it'll like the book is already like the most amazing thing you'll ever read, but this just adds a whole nother hoof to Martha. I feel like I need like to calm down. But I guess I'll go into chapter 17 now. Like I don't Okay. So this is my synopsis. It starts the same way, but I added a little more. So I said, chapter 17 is sex. However, reality sets back in for Adam and Olive. Adam shares that he is going to Harvard to interview, which they both know he will get. Now that Olive's plans with Tom have not panned out, she's afraid to lose him to Boston, although Adam is clearly still hoping for her to make her way there one way or another. This chapter shows that they want to be together subtly, but they don't know how. And I just like, if that isn't the struggle, I don't know what is. Okay. So I wrote page 279. I just said, I love, again, like I said with chapter 16, I love how like even in the most like intimate, like spicy moments, they will still like flirt with each other and like say things. And I just literally love it. And then I said page 282. This is my bullet. Okay. I said, if he calls her beautiful one more time, life as I know it will dissipate like I cannot handle it. Like I don't know why. And I think a lot of like women are like this. But I know I am for sure. When a guy calls me like beautiful, that means like so much more than almost any other like describing like word about like looks like gorgeous or hot or sexy. Like no. Beautiful, I'm just like, wow. You like I don't know. It just
hits different. It's just like,
it does.
Wow, thanks.
I know. And then on page 286, I said, I like how after everything, Olive still can't handle the attractiveness of his voice. Like, it's just like, even after they did all of these things for a very long time, and it was so spicy, she's still just like, oh my gosh, his voice is still attractive. It's just like, she can't, like, now that it's been turned on, like, they cannot, like, it just can't switch off. You know?
I forgot to mention something in chapter 16, so we can cut and paste or whatever we want.
No, but just say it now.
In chapter 16, another thing that I was going to say that wasn't safe for work is that, like, again, they're arguing or Olive is just talking and I'm like, oh my God. And she's saying like, oh, like, what can I do for you? Like, what do you like? And like, he's obviously like down there. And he's like, and like, she's like still talking, and then he like pulls her down or whatever, and she's like surprised that like he's still going, and he's like, "This is what I like."
Like, what?
Like,
Did I hear that correctly?
Exactly.
Right. Oh my gosh, literally crazy. Yes. But again, that just goes to show that he like Olive is his world.
Mm-hmm.
He just wants to like please Olive.
Yes.
That's like that is what brings him
Yes.
happiness. Oof, the Martha. Okay, so then, oh my gosh, on page, I think I'm like flushed. Okay, so page 288, I said, it's like the magic lifted for a moment and reality sets back in. It's so hard because their careers mean so much to both of them, and they get that in each other, so they wouldn't want to like the other person to sacrifice for them, because they start talking about like, you know, if she's gonna go to Boston, but she can't really, like, could he ever stay at Stanford? And it's just like all of this like back and forth, and like they both like care about the other person so much that like they don't want them to sacrifice for them, but they both kind of want to sacrifice for each other. But it's just like the reality is the situation finally sets in, and they're like, I don't know, how is this gonna work?
I think that's why it was so hard for Olive to tell Adam, because again, it's like, we're talking about all the things that like they both individually in their lives have lined up, and it's huge. It's huge things for their careers. So I think that's why Olive like takes so long to tell him, you know?
Yeah, exactly. 100%. And then, okay, so I have an excerpt that I'm going to read. It's at the end of the chapter. I don't know what it says, so give me 1 second to find it here. Oh, yes, it's the last line of the chapter. It ends with this. She thought this was going to be their perfect night and their last.
I screamed because I'm like, Olive, don't do anything stupid, even though I know you're already going to do something stupid. I was so annoyed.
I know. That's the moment I knew that it was like something was about to happen. And I just was like, we just got all of this love and like progress and beautiful moments and everything that I've been waiting for. And of course, they have to just not let it happen. So that's where the chapter ends, and I hated it. So on to the next.
Did you one thing before we move on to chapter 18, even though it's so minor, I think we should mention it. Okay. There's like this book that Adam has that's like in Dutch, and he like says something to her, like, because he can like speak many languages, right? I think. And like and he says,
oh, it was a poster about saying like I love you in a bunch of different languages.
Yes. And he reads it in Dutch because he like knows Dutch, obviously, because Adam knows that. But I just thought it was a really cute moment.
Of course it was. Like, they're literally saying I love you without saying I love you. I'm like, enough.
All right, moving on to chapter 18. So Olive wakes up the next morning alone because like Adam had already left, but what wakes her are the hundreds of calls and text messages that she has from her friends. So she invites her friends over to the hotel room, and Anne and Malcolm tell her about last night's department social, and that apparently Malcolm slept with Holden Rodriguez. Which, by the way, I loved this. I loved them together.
I loved it too. It was so like perfect.
I could read a whole novel about them because they were so cute.
I want a novel of Malcolm and Holden. Seriously.
Same. And then Malcolm lets it slip that Holden told him that Adam's research funds that he needed this entire time were finally released. And Olive is surprised because Adam didn't tell her. And it also meant that it was September 29th, which is the day their arrangement ended.
No.
She goes to her phone and sees that Adam texted her about going to dinner after his interview meetings, and that he could show her around campus, but like no pressure either. Like, so cute. And again, it goes back to the fact that like he's proposing all of these things. He wants this, and it's like the first time, well, technically the second time that we see it. And I'm like, oh my God, he's so in love. He's so in love.
I know.
The scene ends with her saying she knew what she had to do, and then my heart broke into like a million freaking pieces.
No, you don't know what you need to do. Shut up. Sorry. Ugh. Like, enough already.
Yeah. The next scene, she goes to Adam's room and he opens the door and he's smiling. Like, not the half-ass smiles or the smirks that he's given her, like the full-on smile with the dimples, which make the scene even worse, okay?
Mm-hmm.
She walks in and she gives him back his phone charger that he had like forgotten in the hotel room. And then they're back at it again, like teasing each other, just like back into their rhythm. And it like breaks my heart because I can already tell what's going to happen next.
No.
She asked about his interviews and like they went good and he has more grant meetings with Tom, but then they also talk and joke about Holden and Malcolm, which again is the cutest thing ever.
No.
Then the conversation shifts when Adam says that Olive should file a complaint for the people who said those really mean things about her talk the other day, and that he would help her too. Like, what? But then
he will do anything.
I know, and I'm like, oh my god, you're too sweet, dude.
Literally.
Olive says no, and he keeps pushing about that like she should, but then Olive finally says that like he needs to drop it. Thankfully he does because he's a respectful man. But then the topic shifts to dinner. And not only dinner, he also offers to go see a movie again. Like,
look at just
I know he's like planning these dates, and I'm like, oh my god, they're so cute. Olive says that she's not hungry, and the conversation quickly shifts.
Just takes a turn.
When she mentions that today is September 29th. She asks if he knows anything about the funds, and Adam says that they're being released, and he was going to tell her that night at dinner. And he jokes and says that it was probably her sunscreen skills that sealed the deal. Olive laughs and makes a joke about how she can add it to her resume, that she has like fake girlfriend experience and excellent sunscreen skills and is available immediately. Then, on page 301, Adam says, not immediately. He looked at her curiously, tenderly. Not for a while, I'd say. Did you just keep, like, I could not.
Finally.
Like, this is what I wanted. I wanted someone to confess feelings. And I was like, yes! You know?
I know, but alas.
Unfortunately, Olive says that she thinks she should be available immediately. And
whatever. Like,
yeah. And again, too, in this chapter, we see like a lot of like inner turmoil for her, and we get an insight that she can't be with him, but she also can't tell him the truth because it'll ruin his relationship with Tom. But not only that, it'll ruin his dream of doing this research at Harvard, which you touched upon. It's like there's so much hinging upon their careers and stuff. And Olive just can't do that to him. So instead of telling him all the truth, she decides to end it. She basically says that they accomplished what they wanted to accomplish, and she wishes him well at Harvard and with his real girlfriend, whomever he may choose. This man, afterwards, he is ruined. He goes completely silent. Like, he's done. He shuts down. He shuts down.
Yep.
And
which fair? Like, yeah, really?
No, I agree. He goes silent and he's short and he just agrees with like whatever Olive says, and he can't even meet her eyes. Like, this is how heartbroken he is. She then says like she can't thank him enough for all the things that like he's done for her, and like how when they first met she felt so alone and she didn't anymore. Just like all of these like really kind things that someone would say to someone if they were in love. Okay, no biggie, whatever. Just as Olive is leaving, she passes him to go to the door, but then he grabs her wrists, halts her, and says on page 304, Olive, if you ever need anything at all, anything, whenever, you can come to me. His jaw worked like there were other words he was keeping inside. I want you to come to me.
Oh my gosh. But that's how deep his love ran for her. Like, he genuinely, he genuinely like would do
Yes.
anything for her no matter what happened. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if she has feelings, it doesn't matter whatever. He at the most like minimal level, the one thing he needs is for her to know that he will always be there
I
for
know.
her. And like I don't know what is more special than that.
Again, but then it breaks my heart because it's like he is so selfless for her. Like he just wants the best. And I'm like, but Adam, what about you? Like I want the best for you.
know.
Like I just
I know. Like why I just like
yeah.
honestly, to this day, it's still like I get we needed that last bit of tension or whatever for the book, but like I honestly, it kind of pissed me
I
off
agree.
because I was just like, at this point, you really have no reason not to make it work. Like, I
Exactly.
don't understand why. Like,
He clearly likes
I
you. Why are
just-
you ending this? Like, I don't.
I know. I wish I felt like I understood it, but I really, really don't. Even to this day, I don't
either. And it was really frustrating the first time that I read it. Read this chapter. So Olive wipes her tears away because she's obviously crying, and she kisses him on the cheek, just like a soft, quick peck. But his hands come to her back and brings her closer. And then before you know it, they're kissing again. And it's like this hot fake-out session against the wall with like so much yearning and desire. But then it ends very quickly and they pull apart. And on page 305, it says, when he pressed his lips against her forehead one last time, she felt her love for him swell fuller than a river in flood, and Olive leaves. After that.
Oh, like what the heck? I don't, that's what makes me not understand. In that moment, she knew for like 100%, they both knew they loved each other. So like,
why are you doing this?
Like, why? I'm sorry. It's truly BS.
And I know like this whole entire like episode, I've been saying that like I'm crying, screaming, throwing up like the entire time. But like seriously, when I first read this book, I sobbed. Like I don't know what's wrong with me. I sobbed.
No, it's heartbreaking because it's just like two people who love each other so much, but they're just not like they're just being stupid about it. I'm just like, just let yourself be there.
I was mourning their relationship. Like I felt like I was heartbroken, and it just like hit me like a freaking train. Like I couldn't deal with it, and I just sobbed.
I know. It's so sad.
Also, fun fact. I read an interview with Allie Hazelwood about this chapter.
Oh.
Did you know that this chapter was supposed to end with them having sex again?
Really? Shut up.
Yes. And then she cut it out. Like her and her editor or whatever cut it out before it was published.
That is literally insane. I don't know if honestly, I'm kind of glad they cut it. Not because I don't want another sex scene, but because I feel like after the whole like chapter 16 and everything it was, I feel like it wouldn't have like made sense. Like I feel like the kiss was like enough for me to get what needed to be said in that moment.
Well, the part of me, like there's a part of me where I just like I just want them to be together again. So I was like, yes, another sex scene. But then I also agree. I think their kiss was like the most tension ever in this book. Even after like
literally
the sunscreen scene and the auditorium scene, I think this makeout session was like the highest in tension. And it said a lot without like describing a lot, you know?
Literally, exactly.
All right. Well, that is how chapter 18 ends. So, moving on to chapter 19, Olive spends the next 36 hours locked in her hotel room, just like grieving, like just mending her broken heart. No biggie.
You did that to yourself.
Once she does get up, she gets motivated to like girl boss and like get all these things done. And she's like taking Adam's advice to have her advisor help her connect with like other professors who may, which may like get her more replies than she did in the first time around. Because again, she's like trying to think of ways to kind of get out of the situation with Tom. And she also reads up on research ethics and rules and comes up with the plan to like quickly publish her report that she shared with Tom before Tom can like claim
he can steal it. Yeah.
And then Anne and Malcolm come to her room, and Anne tells her about like the outreach event that she had been planning, and then they decide to go out, and they like decide to go hike the Freedom Trail with some ice cream and beer. Olive agrees, even though she's not feeling up for it. Before they leave, she checks her email, and she got an email from her advisor saying that she's more than happy to help connect her with these professors and to also send the recording of Olive's talk to her because she wants to hear it. Do we all know where this is going?
We know where it's going.
Olive begins to like cut the audio file, but because it's literally so long, and she has to like airdrop it to her MacBook and like do it manually, and it's taking a long time. While she's doing that, Malcolm is telling them of his date with Holden, which again is the cutest. And I thought this was hilarious because his first date with Holden is with his family. Like just so random, and also just like such a Malcolm thing too. Like that.
Yes, exactly.
It's so
I
funny.
love it.
As Malcolm is like saying this, Olive's recording begins to play, and it's right in the middle of Tom's frickin' insult of how sleeping with well-known scholars is how to get ahead, and Olive like immediately stops the recording. But it's already too late because Anne and Malcolm have already heard way too much. And then Olive just like bursts into tears because like what she has been avoiding for 2 days finally resurfaced so abruptly. Like if that was me, like same. I would have done the same. I would have just broken down, you know.
Literally. Yep.
Anne and Malcolm listen to it, and Anne tries to convince Olive to tell Adam, but again, we already know the reasoning, and Olive restates that again. Then finally, they tell Anne the truth, that everything was fake, and they were only fake dating to have Anne and Jeremy get together. But in the middle of everything, Olive obviously caught feelings. Anne tries to convince Olive to tell Adam again because if their roles were reversed, Olive would want to know. But again, it's like complicated because a lot of it would cause Adam to lose what he's been working super hard for, which again, I understand where like Olive is coming from. Like that's a lot of guilt that would come with it. So I mean, I definitely see like where her battle is like coming into play. Then Malcolm is like, I wonder if there's like someone we could talk to that like knows Adam super well and could help us predict what Adam would say.
I literally love Malcolm so much. Malcolm and Holden are so perfect.
It takes a while for Anne and Olive to catch on, but their next step is to go talk to Holden. So that's what Olive does. So Holden spills the frickin' tea about Tom, and he says that Tom was a mentor to grad students like himself and Adam, and that their advisor was like never really around, yet his advisor knew of Adam's every little mistake, and Holden has a feeling that it was Tom telling the advisor all this crap, because then Tom would come and swoop in and save the day. It was like a pattern, and it just like made Holden not trust Tom. Holden predicts that Tom wants power over Adam. Like that's his ultimate goal.
100%. And I think in that moment, like after everything that happened, we knew that like what like Holden suspected of Tom the whole time was 100% true. Like we know in that moment, which makes me hate him even more, which I'm not even going to talk about Tom anymore because he doesn't deserve my time.
Then, before the chapter ends, Holden drops a huge revelation on Olive. In the past few years, Adam has been offered jobs by a lot of institutions, which includes Harvard. And this year wasn't their first attempt, but it is the first time Adam agreed to interview with Harvard.
Because of
he only agreed to it after Olive had decided to go work in Tom's lab. Anyway,
I don't know how many times I can say this, but like his love for her is so selfless and endless. Like he would literally do anything.
He has the biggest heart for Olive. And like just just wants to give everything to her.
Literally, and he doesn't care, like, if anyone knows, but, like, nobody knows all these little things except for Holden that, like, he's been holding on to and thinking about for
Yeah.
so long, like,
Yeah.
he's so selfless, and he doesn't.
I know.
Yeah, wow. I just
I love him so much.
I love him.
I love him so
You
much.
know.
You take it away, Theoni.
Oh my gosh, wait, that's the end of the chapter? Oh my gosh, yeah. Okay, so chapter 20. This is my synopsis. In chapter 20, Olive finally is honest about who made her cry at the conference. When Adam finds out that Tom is the one who said those things, he finally releases all control and stands up for Olive. This chapter made my heart race like no other. Like, I was so stressed, but like so happy at the same time, because I wrote on page 323, there's like this moment when Olive decides, she's like, I cannot lie anymore. Like, I cannot lie. I just have to tell the truth. Like, I'm done with this. Like, it doesn't matter what it costs me. It doesn't matter what happens. I need to just like tell the truth. And I think that like that shows a lot of growth in her, which I love, like her character arc, because like I feel like that just really, I don't know, just showed a lot in her. Like, so I really like
she finally accepted the truth that she's been like running away from for so long. And again, it's just such a big moment for her, and I loved it. Okay, so this is the part where Olive shows up at the restaurant, and we get this like dialogue in her head that like he's not even gonna like notice me, whatever. But Adam like notices her and goes up to her and is just like, Olive, what's wrong? Like, again, immediately drops everything to go pay attention to her. And there's this moment when she describes like how painful it was for her that he like wanted to like put his hands like on her elbows, but he wouldn't. And like, again, speaks to his like restraint. But like, it was so heartbreaking to read that. So heartbreaking. Also, though, because like he's so respectful, and even after what happened in that hotel room, he's like, "No, I'm gonna give her some space, even though I want to comfort her so bad."
Exactly. Like, I know. Okay, so then this. It just gets crazy. So basically, it's like when finally Tom comes over, and it's just like, oh, don't you even dare. And then all of a sudden, as he's like being a dirtbag, the recording starts playing, and Adam just goes, oh, you've got it. Like, he just like the light switches on, and he's like, oh heck no. And he just like starts like standing up for Olive, yelling at Tom, like it doesn't even matter about anything else. He's just like, I'm done. And he's like, I'm literally gonna kill you. Like, I cannot. My jaw dropped when the recording started playing, because I was wondering how Olive would do it, and then Tom came over, and I was like, crap, her plan is ruined.
Yes, that's
like,
what I thought.
What is she gonna do? And then she just plays it, and you can just see the shift in Adam. Yes, like, but oh my gosh. I literally have a note about that. I said, I love this moment, because finally Adam releases control and shows his emotions to the world, and he does not care. It's like him finally breaking out of the stereotype that he's cold and emotionless. He's like, I am here. I am angry. I will stand up for what's right. I don't care who you are. Like, he just finally, like, he has so much restraint. It was gone in this moment. He was like, I hate you. You know what made me scream so freaking loud is when he pushes Tom to the wall and goes, if you touch the woman I love, I'm going to kill you. That's it. I also screamed, and then I cried, because I was like, he loves her. He loves her. Oh my gosh. I was dying, because like, even though I wanted like Adam to beat up Tom, I was like, oh, he said it. Like, I was so excited. I know. I literally just like cannot handle it. That moment was like so special. Okay. And then I just wrote this note, which I'm going to read, just because this was like my thought reading it. I said, this whole chapter just shows what Adam and Olive do for each other. Adam gives Olive confidence in herself and pushes her to do what she needs to do. And Olive brings out Adam's emotional side and pushes him to reevaluate what he wants and needs. And I just like, everything just came together.
That's so beautiful, Theoni. I love that so
But
much.
it's true, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
it just they're perfect for each
Yes,
other.
they complement each other
Mhm.
so well, and I think again too, you said it in the first part that like there's this push and pull between them, like the
Yes.
challenging all the time, but it's like at the end, it like really, really works for them, and they like come out
Yes.
as like better people, and I love it.
Because they don't push each other in a way that's like rude or annoying. They
Yeah,
push each other and challenge each other in a way that like helps them grow and like become better versions of themselves. And
yeah,
that's what we all need from our relationships, ladies and gentlemen. Oof, the Martha. All
yeah.
right. So then on page 27, I say the way Adam apologizes to Olive and the way he cradles her head is so pure. And then there's this quote and he says, and this is how the chapter ends, okay? He
Okay.
says, then I'll come find you and I'll take care of you. So after
I'm
everything
gonna cry.
that happened, he just is like, I don't care. Like, I'm going to take care of you.
Yeah, he's like, "Don't worry about it. I got it. I'm gonna take care of you," which is like the
I
sweetest
know.
thing ever.
I know. It's too much. It's so cute. Like, their love is so pure.
I
And like,
know. I
oh,
know.
I love it. Going into chapter 21. Oh my gosh. I'm ashamed. I don't have a synopsis. I must have forgotten because I got too excited. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed. Okay, but I think I kind of lined it up. So
Okay.
I'm sorry for all you listeners. I know that like my synopsis is your favorite part as well. Okay.
It's my favorite part.
Thanks, Selena. So chapter 21, it starts off pretty much with Olive getting all of these offers for her research, which made me so happy because it
Yeah.
just confirmed like what Adam saw and what we saw about how
Yeah.
smart she was and capable and worthy and all of these things. And she finally gets to see that and gets
Yeah.
validated for all the things. And I was so happy for her. And then, and then I love on page 331, it's when like Holden and Malcolm and Adam and Olive are all together and Holden's just sitting there like running his mouth about how Adam liked her for like so long and all of these
Yes.
different things. And Adam's just sitting there like, shut up. And Olive's just sitting there like heart in a puddle,
I
like I
know.
just loved it.
It was adorable because it looked like he was like a little embarrassed too. Like just like,
Yeah.
oh my
Like
gosh.
he doesn't get embarrassed, but like he
I
gets a little
know.
flustered.
I
I know.
know.
Oh my gosh, my cheeks hurt. I
I know,
can't.
same.
Oh.
Same.
Okay, so this was just about, because they're trying to figure out where they're going to go for dinner and all of
Mhm.
these things. And Adam's getting so annoyed by like Coldland right now, but like in the best way. And there's this paragraph that says, Adam was looking at her again, from several inches above Holden's and Malcolm's heads. Adam was looking at her with an expression that was half apologetic, half annoyed, and ... all intimate, really. Something familiar they'd shared before. Olive felt something inside her melt and suppressed a smile. And I don't know why, but it's just so special. Like,
It's so cute and they deserve this.
mhm.
At this point I'm like, yes, like you deserve everything
Like
like between you two.
finally.
Like, yes, I'm just like, oh my gosh, yes,
And
finally.
And the thing that I love is like just as spicy as it can be, they can be so just like cute and romantic. It's like, again,
Yeah.
Allie Hazelwood creates the perfect balance. Okay, so then they finally make it to dinner. They're eating their Chinese food, and immediately Holden's like, I gotta do damage control. And is like, Adam, Malcolm, you hate each other. Let's talk it out. And it's like so funny. I literally love
It's
Holden so
it's
much.
such like a boyfriend thing that like Holden would do, and
Mhm.
it's so cute and funny. And I'm
I
like,
know.
Holden, I love you.
It's so good. It's so good. It just killed me. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love him. Um, and then I love that, like, there's this one part where Olive acknowledges that, like, they need to talk more, like her and Adam, about
Mhm.
everything going forward. But finally, she's like, I know we need to talk, but I'm going to just, like, enjoy myself in this moment. And again, I
Yeah.
think that shows so much growth for her because even when they were freaking having sex, she still was, like, constantly talking and saying these
Yeah.
things. But finally, she's like, I trust in our relationship. We will talk later, and I'm going to enjoy myself.
Yeah, like, I deserve this. I'm gonna enjoy this
Yes.
really, really happy moment.
Exactly. And I just loved that so much.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that Adam really brings out in her, you know?
Mhm.
And then on page 336, finally Malcolm and Adam agree on something, and it's how disgusting pumpkin spice is.
Yeah.
And it's again just like another little nugget that like gets brought back in the most funny,
Yeah.
perfect way. I loved it.
It's funny that it's like pumpkin spice that they bond
Yes.
over, because it's like
Literally.
Olive loves it, but they both hate it. And I'm just like,
Exactly. I literally love it. The chapter pretty much ends finally on page 338. Finally, Olive acknowledges that Adam was the guy all along. And I literally screamed. And I love that, like, in that moment, Adam is described to look very worried because, of course, he was.
Mhm.
But like Olive was so pleased and content that I think it was just such a perfect moment.
Yeah. I'm happy she finally came to the realization, and also it comes up in the next chapter as well.
Yes. And that's pretty much what I have. So finish out the book.
All right, everyone. We're on the final stretch. So, chapter 22. They're leaving the restaurant, and Holden is telling yet another embarrassing story about Adam. She gives everyone a fortune cookie as they leave. Holden and Malcolm go their separate ways, and then Adam walks Olive home because her place is like 10 minutes from the restaurant. Olive finally opens Adam's fortune cookie because in Adam fashion, he like doesn't want to eat the fortune cookie, and he doesn't want to read his fortune.
Whatever, Adam.
I know. It's cheesy, but his fortune says, "You can fall in love. Someone will catch you." Which again was like really cheesy, but I was like, oh my gosh, like
that was one of the most like most overtly cheesy parts, but I still ate it up.
Same. They talk about Tom, so we get closure on him. Like, he's going to be fired, and Harvard's Title IX coordinator will be in touch with her soon. She asks what's going to happen to his grant, and he's not sure, but he also says he doesn't care at the moment. Olive apologizes because she thought he would be mad at her for ruining things for him, like his like relationship with Tom and his research and his grant. Adam says he doesn't care. As he should, though. He doesn't care because he cares about Olive more.
I know.
Then, like you had mentioned, Olive finally says that she wasn't the only one who remembered the bathroom incident. She says that it just took a bit to realize that it was Adam, and she asked why he didn't say anything. And he says that she had introduced herself like they had never met before. And he was thinking about her for a long time, like for years. So that's why he like didn't tell her. And I want your thoughts here, because at first when I read this and I kind of sat with it, I thought it was like a little creepy, because like years to think of someone and watch them from like afar, because he like remembers all these things about Olive from like random events.
Yeah.
It was a little too much for me.
But then I was creepy.
Yeah. But then I was like, okay, actually maybe we might be fine, because maybe Adam just thought that like he wasn't worthy of her, and like the only way that he could like have her was literally just like watching her. And similar to what Olive thought.
And I think at the time, I mean, of course, at the beginning of the book, when Olive kisses him and whatever, it takes him by surprise and he acts like he doesn't care about any of that stuff. I wonder if he was like holding back all of that time because he's like, I'm not going to put myself out there first when like she's a student, I'm a professor, like blah, blah, blah. So I wonder if that passed through his head at all. Definitely a little creepy.
Yeah.
A little much. I was like, years and you didn't even... I don't know, but I, of course, in the context of a romance book, I was like, okay, you just like whatever.
Yeah.
But in real life, I'd be like, yo, huh?
I'd be like, years? You literally waited and watched me for years? Like, ew, okay.
I know.
But because it's Adam, I'd be like, oh, it's fine.
I know.
Like I said before, it's revealed that like Adam knew her all along and remembered her from like everywhere, and that agreeing to her deal wasn't just because he wanted to help her, but because he had feelings for her all along, which now makes sense why he proposed the deal in the first place. And I would pay so much money to read the first chapter in his perspective because I want to know what he thought when he first realized that he was kissing the Olive that he had been finding for over years. You know, like I just want to know his reaction. His restraint was probably like so
so strong.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Anyways, Olive then goes into like a long speech on like false positives and false negatives, and like I'm not smart enough to know this, but anyways, which then eventually turns into like a beautiful metaphor of how she was like too afraid to look too closely at the things in her life because she was afraid of seeing like too much. She tells Adam two things, and he's being so sweet to her during this entire time, and he's like, so like Olive is like crying while she's like telling him these things, and he's promising that he'll like make it right and he'll fix it, and like it's so adorable. So the first thing that Olive tells him is that she lied to him about having feelings for someone. There was no one else, and it was always him. Right? I know.
Okay.
Finally. He calls her sweetheart before she reveals the second and final thing. She tells him, "I love you" in Dutch, which is so cute. And that's literally how the book ends. That's it. That's it. And I
know.
I thought it was a perfect ending. It was again, it's bringing back those like little things in the book that they had before, and it's just, oh my gosh, like Allie Hazelwood is a master at like all of this.
Literally.
All right, that's how the book ends. But then there is a really short epilogue, but again, so freaking cute. First off, 10 months later, holy crap. I love me a good time jump. Like, I was like 10 months later.
Literally.
At first I was confused because I was like, what is happening right now? I felt like so disoriented. And then Olive also mentions their selfie in Joshua Tree with Olive kissing him on the cheek. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cute. We also find out that she's going to be working at a cancer lab at Berkeley in less than a week. So that's good that we get kind of like that closure that like everything worked out for her.
Yeah.
Then, as they keep talking, I finally realized that they're recreating the whole entire encounter from chapter 1, which I loved. I loved it.
Same.
Because I guess it's been like exactly 1 year since the kiss, and they were recreating it, which obviously was Olive's idea, and Adam was just too in love with her to say no. Like he was like, okay, I guess.
I know.
And the epilogue ends with the dialogue that we didn't get in chapter 1, and Olive says, "May I kiss you, Dr. Carlson?" And that's the end of the glorious love hypothesis by Allie Hazelwood.
That was a friggin' doozy. I think it's honestly one of my favorite books of all time. Like, it's so good. It's so addicting. It's literally just incredible.
Like, oh my God, it like makes me feel good. And again, we like talked about this. Like, I'm constantly smiling and laughing and being like all giddy when I talk or think about it or read it. Like, it's such a good book to like make me feel so good. I love it.
I know. It's literally so good. Okay. Now, we have a little treat for you guys. So, Selena and I thought it would be fun because obviously I feel like these contemporary romance books are coming back, which actually we'll mention in just a second, but a lot of them are turning into movies and things like that. So we decided we wanted to do a fan cast for The Love Hypothesis.
Yes.
So I had a really hard time with this. Because I just felt like there were too many options, but also not enough.
So I had the opposite problem. I like couldn't find the perfect person. Like there just like wasn't that perfect Olive or whatever that I had in mind. So it was really, really difficult for me.
Okay. So I'm gonna I want to hear yours
No,
first.
I want to hear yours first.
Okay, fine. Okay. So for Olive, I had a hard time with this, but I had 3 people. So I had like multiple people for each of them, but then I highlighted who I would think would work the best together.
Okay.
Because I'm psycho. So for Olive, I had Elizabeth Olsen, aka Wanda.
Okay.
And then I had Daisy Ridley. Which I'm sorry, but like, I'm sorry. I know it's like Star Wars, but like, come on. She would be perfect. Like her face. And then the one that I highlighted was Danielle Campbell. Do you know her?
I do.
Do you remember that old Disney Channel movie Starstruck?
Yes.
Like her, but now obviously she's older, more mature. I feel like she has the right look. Like she's older, but like she has a more innocent face that I feel like would work for Olive.
Oh my gosh, no, I love that actually. Because she does look like Olive. Okay. Okay.
Exactly. So, and then you're gonna laugh for who I put for Adam.
Oh no.
So one of my options was Ben Barnes. Do you know Ben Barnes?
I do, and I have to say that I do not like that option.
Okay. So my other one is the one I highlighted. You're gonna laugh.
Who is it?
But honestly, it's Henry Cavill. I'm sorry, but can you imagine him? Like I've watched interviews with him and he's kind of a nerd, and I pictured him when I was reading this book, and I know he doesn't look like what's on the cover, but neither does Olive.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever. He's tall. He could have a deeper voice. I don't know. I like it. But I know I can tell on your face, which you guys can't see this, she disagrees. But that's okay. Okay. So then for Anne or Anne, however you pronounce it. So I had 2 people. Okay. So the first one was if you had like a little bit of a younger looking cast, I would do Lana Candor.
Yes.
From To All the Boys I Loved Before. I think she'd be awesome. But the other one that I did highlight, do you know the actress Jamie Chung?
I don't.
She's been in like a few different things. I don't know that she's ever been in something super major, but I just think she would be really perfect for that role. I've really liked her in what I've seen her in.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I know who Jamie is.
Her face.
I do. Oh my God, wait. She would be fantastic.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And like her alongside Danielle Campbell, I feel like they both are like at the same age that it would like work well, you know? Okay. So then for Malcolm, I really had a hard time with Malcolm. I didn't know. But who I thought could pull it off, I don't know if you've ever seen Riverdale.
Yes.
But the guy who plays Kevin Keller. So Casey Cott.
Casey Cott.
She's Googling this, you guys.
Oh my gosh. Wait, for who again?
For Malcolm.
Oh, okay. I could see that. I
don't know. And I just think he kind of has the look and like the attitude for it.
I like this one. I like this one. Same with Jamie. I like that one too.
So then I know this is a very minor character and I only had one option for this also. But for Jeremy, I had Dylan O'Brien.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, maybe. I'm not sold on that.
I'm not because he's too attractive. I'd be like, go. Why would you go for if you have Jeremy right there?
Okay, but if Jeremy is Dylan O'Brien and Adam is Henry Cavill, I'm sorry, I'm choosing Henry Cavill.
Oh my god!
I'll take any of them. But like, okay. So then Holden, I had a very hard time with.
Okay.
So at first, but the two initial thoughts I had, I think would be too old for it. So first, I had Wilmer Valderrama.
Oh my gosh! Wait, I mean, I don't think he looks that old though. Like, I feel like he could play Holden, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I thought of him, so he could be good. I also thought of Henry Golding.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah. So he could be, or another person I put, although he would have to be like no facial hair, like made sure he didn't have any white in his hair, but Oscar Isaac, I think, could also be a really good Holden.
He is a little on the older side, but I think you could age him down, you know? So
exactly. So exactly why it was like no beard, like yes. So then for Tom, so I had a hard time with this. I really didn't know who I wanted Tom to be, but the one that I settled
Mhm.
on, which is controversial and I'm not sold
Okay.
on it, but Sebastian Stan.
Wait, just a minute. I need to look this person up.
Bucky,
Oh, yes, yes. Um,
because because I know he can play like a gross character because like
mm,
I've seen him do it in other things. I don't know. I feel like he could do it, but I'm
he
not
does
sold
look a
on it.
little assholey, so like I'd be like, okay.
But like also he could play the charming part very well
Yeah.
at first, but then turn.
Yeah.
So anyways, that was my cast.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I want to hear
So
yours
mine is
now.
not as extensive as that. I'm gonna say right now it's not. I
Mhm.
don't even have anyone for Adam Carlson because I could not find anyone perfect enough for him. I can't.
Selena.
Like I was like
I
thinking
know.
and I was like this man lives rent free in my head and I can't
Mhm.
put another guy to him, like I just
Yeah.
didn't make it just didn't make sense in my head. But
Mhm.
for Olive, so this one I'm not 100% sold on, but I just settled on it anyways. Olive, I
Okay.
would choose Zoe Deutsch.
I saw
Okay.
that and I was not sold on it either,
Yeah.
which is why I didn't write her down. I feel like I f-
So the reason why
there's
the reason
something.
why I'm saying
Yes, okay.
her because have you seen the movie Set It Up on Netflix?
Yes, I have, and I
Exactly.
literally
So
love
I think
it.
her attitude as Olive could like come through because I've
Mm,
seen her do it before, but she
sure.
doesn't look like Olive to me. That's my
No.
problem. Yeah.
Her acting style,
Yes.
yes. Her like look, not
Yes,
quite.
exactly.
Mhm.
Okay, for Jeremy, I was
Oh, also, before we move on, I just need to throw myself in the ring for Olive, especially if Adam is Henry Cavill.
I'll be
Anyways,
Anne, you'll be Olive.
yes, literally, it's perfect.
Okay, wait. I was so sidetracked, but I was going to tell you that Olive reminds me of you because I swear if she took the Enneagram test, she'd be a 2.
Oh, I
Right?
100% agree. Which, like, okay, like,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay.
I've been compared
Yeah,
to
right.
worse.
Okay, so for Jeremy, I had 2 people. So I
Mhm.
was thinking either Cameron Mohanigan or whatever, however you say his last name. He was
Oh, I think I
he
know
was
who you're
in
talking about.
Shameless, I
Yes.
think. So
Mhm.
Cameron or the other guy that I was thinking for Jeremy would be Will Poulter. Do you know who that is?
Yes. I I know he's had a glow up
Yeah, he
recently, and
has.
I've seen those TikToks, but okay,
Right,
I could
because
see it,
like
I
Jeremy's just
think.
supposed to be cute. Like he's just like
But not circa We're the Millers.
no, no, not that. Oh my gosh. No, that
Sorry,
was funny.
okay.
Okay, for Tom Benton, I was thinking
Oh,
I
I'm
was
very
thinking of
curious.
Wyatt Russell.
Who's
He
that?
was in Captain America and oh no, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
If it's the guy who plays the new
Yep.
Captain,
Yep.
ew, I hate
Right?
him. I'm
Right?
sorry. I can't. But like the thing is Tom needs to be attractive too, and I can't even look
Okay,
at his face.
okay.
I'm such a jerk. I'm sorry. He's like a fine
Yeah.
looking guy, okay? But that show makes you despise him. And now I just have a hard time looking
Okay.
at him any
Okay.
other way. Like sorry,
No.
I didn't mean to have such a strong reaction. Like I get what you're saying,
Yeah.
but now I'm thinking about Captain America and the stupid
Well, the thing
shield.
is
Oh
too,
my.
that's why I thought he'd be a perfect Tom because I know he can be an asshole and I know he can be creepy too. So it's like
Yeah.
so I feel
True,
like
true. Okay, maybe he could play that
right?
well. Okay, and maybe I would have a different feeling about him when they give him a mask that's not smushing his nose.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways.
No, that's it for my casting. I don't have a lot again because it's
Oh
like
my gosh.
I can't think of anyone that like would be perfect, you know?
That's okay. Fan casting is hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, Allie Hazelwood, if anyone asks your opinion about who to cast in the movie, you know who to call for Olive and on, okay?
It's us, Allie, it's us.
Yeah, it is. Okay. And should we tell them what our next episode is going to be about?
Yes. So next time, Theoni and I will be discussing the hating game, but we'll be discussing the movie and not the book.
Yes, and the reason we're not discussing the book is because neither of us have gotten around to it yet. So we thought it would be really interesting because we both love like this contemporary romance novels. It's like we want to watch the movie and see how we feel about that first.
Yes, exactly. And we're so excited. There's been some mixed reviews out, but I mean, I love a good rom-com. So like I am so excited.
Also love Lucy Hale, so I feel like it could be really good.
Well, it's interesting because like I was never in like the Pretty Little Liars phase. So like
Neither was I.
Oh my god, really?
No, I was only in the A Cinderella Story Once Upon a Song phase.
Oh,
Lucy Hale. So
okay. Yeah. But you know, so like I haven't seen like Lucy Hale in a lot of stuff. So I'm excited to see like how she does in this role.
Yes. 100%. Well, thank you guys so much for watching.
If you've gotten to the end of this episode, thanks for sticking around.
Yeah.
Like
literally,
it's just us rambling.
Oh my gosh. But we hope you guys were just as excited as we are, and we cannot wait to talk about the movie. Of course, follow us on socials, email us comments, questions, concerns, whatever, and we will see you next time.
Bye.